Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Spencer. Today I want to talk about decoupling. No, decoupling is not about asking you to divorce from your spouse. Decoupling in real estate term is actually part purchase, to be more accurate. So part purchase, as the name suggests, literally you are buying over the part owned by your partner, and thus you become the sole owner of the property. So that is part purchase. There's a Straits Times link with attached below, which talked about this back in 2018, just for your reference. So I'll talk about the benefits first. Benefits of part purchase, in my opinion, is that you tend to avoid paying ABSD, which can be substantial. So imagine 12% if you are Singaporean and buying your next property. But that said, right, you have to look at your financial situation at that point in time, and of course your citizenship, which plays an important part, right? That determines whether going the part purchase or paying the ABSD route is more financially viable. The other part is, of course, you release the partner off to buy another property, and this can help you attain your dream of owning another property for passive income in future if you decide to rent it out, or capital appreciation, right? So these are the benefits in my opinion. There are certain risks involved, of course. Now, with after buying your next property, you will technically have two properties, right? So with two properties means that most likely you will have also two mortgages to take care of. This increases your debt, and you have to take that into consideration. If you are comfortable, then by all means, please proceed. The next thing, of course, you have to think about is whether you are comfortable with all your finances parked within your properties, because cash will not be so liquid when you're parked in the properties, unlike cash in the bank or even stocks and shares, which can be liquidated within a week, or even cash is immediate. So for property, you need to consider that this takes a long time to process and to sell and to finally get your funds back. So these are the risks involved. And also next, we want to talk about cost of decoupling. You also need to make sure that decoupling or part purchase makes sense in terms of coming out the funds upfront. Of course, you need to compare that if you were to pay ABSD upfront without doing part purchase. So cost of decoupling or part purchase, number one, will be from your buyer stamp duty. Obviously, when you buy over your partner's portion, you also need to pay for stamping, which is your buyer stamp duty. The second one will be the legal fees. Legal fees, depending on the firm that is doing, it probably ranges between 6,000 to 7,000. And the next one will be restructuring of your loan. Since now you'll be buying over the seller's portion, you will need to refinance the entire property again. So the banks will charge a fee, again depending on the bank, maybe up to $1,000. Okay, that is something that may change, so you need to check that out. Of course, lastly, you have the seller stamp duty if the property has not reached, or the property was bought just within the 3 years time frame ago. So that you also have to consider. And maybe other considerations I want to highlight will be, again, restructuring your loan. You need to make sure that when you restructure the loan, you as a purchaser of the other part is able to finance that, then and finance and support the new loan. Penalty of redeeming a loan if it's still within the lock-in period. Yes, this is something that we need to take care of. If you redeem a loan, if you have locked in for 2 years bank mortgage, you need to know that there is a fee payable. And again, you need to find that out. Okay, so let's try out an example, a simple example, and we shall see how it works. Okay, for this example, I will assume a couple of things first. I'll assume that the valuation of the property will be at $1 million. Okay. Then I also assume that the outstanding loan is at 500,000. And CPF used by the husband, including the accrued interest, will be at 150,000. Let us just assume the same thing for the wife, okay, which is also $150,000 used. Both of them, for sake of calculation, will be at 40 years old. Okay, so these are the information we require at this point in time. Okay, so next, now we are looking at the part purchase side of things. So assuming the husband buys from the wife. Okay, let's look at this now. So assuming the husband buys from the wife. So husband, wife, and let's give a total amount first. Okay. Now, oh yes, one more thing I forgot to mention. We need to look at the manner of holding. So let's assume it's a joint tenancy, which means they own 50% each. So this is very important. You need to get that information first. So if it's 50% holding, let's put it into writing here. The share is at 50% each of them, so total 100%. Okay. Valuation of property, since they're 50% each, it will be at 500,000. Okay, which again gives you 1 million. So this is their shareholding value that they have. The next thing, we look at their outstanding loan. This also has to be factored in. You need to put in as half of it. So current loan is 500,000, so half of it will be 250,000 each. Okay, total again is 500,000. Okay, when you do a part purchase, always remember that one party buys from the other party, and you treat it like a new purchase. It's just like you're buying another property. So husband now buys from the wife, right? So the husband technically has to pay a 5%, followed by a 20%. Okay, and then you have 75%, which can be obtained from the loan. So 5% based on 500,000, because you're buying from the wife's portion. 5% will be 25,000. 10% will be 100,000, followed by the loan at 375,000. So at any point in time, you can pause this video and have a look at the numbers again. Okay. So I will treat this 375,000 as the additional loan that is required. Okay. So how it works is like this. You need to do, let's factor this as H1 loan, and H2 will be your existing loan. Okay. So this is H1 and we have H2. What is H2? H2 basically is taking your existing loan, as I mentioned above, is half of it, which is 250k. All right. So now the husband will need to be able to cater for this new loan amount. So let's say this new loan will be H1 plus H2, and that equates to 625,000. So now it's a very important step here. The husband needs to know whether can he loan this amount. So that is crucial. So let's assume for the sake of this video, he can. So no problem. Husband can loan. Okay. So husband can loan this amount. Once you have this, literally your part purchase, you're almost there. So you can factor in this amount, and the husband can loan it, and you can proceed to complete your part purchase. But important, now let's talk about earlier when I mentioned about the risk involved or the cost involved. So let's look at the cost. First, buyer stamp duty based on 500k will equate to 9,006. I've done the calculation ahead in advance. Basically, it's 3% minus away 5,004. Okay, there's a detailed calculation in IRAS which you can try it out, and this is the amount that we will get if we do based on 500,000. So that is your first cost. The second cost will be your legal fees. So assuming legal fees is between assuming legal fees is between 6K to 7K. Okay, and restructuring cost of the restructuring of your loan. So the cost, let's assume, is again 1,000. You also have one more thing, valuation cost. So this valuation cost is at, let's say, $300. So if I were to do a quick calculation, this would give you a grand total of 17,900. So now the question is, do you think that this is a more viable option compared to paying ABSD upfront? You have to see the situation. If your property is only valued at $1 million, of course this condition applies. But if there were many other circumstances where the value of your property currently is very high, which means that your buyer's stamp duty could be substantial, legal fees again could also be different, this could change the whole outlook of this entire structure. So be sure to talk to your realtor, your real estate agent, to work out the numbers and to see where you stand and to see if there's an opportunity for you to go into part purchase. Okay, so I hope this helps, and if you have anything that you are unsure of and you'd like to, just post a comment below and I'll try to answer as best as I can. Okay, thank you.